Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakah Kwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. Alright, this video will be entitled Strive to have victory with Yahawashi. Alright, strive to have victory with Yahawashi, because at the end of the day we know Esau's world is coming to an end. Okay, this age is his eon. Okay, and those who take part in this world soon to be destroyed, they're gonna go along down with it. Okay, and we know there's a lot of it have an election, and the non-elect. It have a elect and a non-elect. Okay, the non-elect are the ones who gonna end up wind up taking that sea hip, and gonna be led to destruction. All right, down with the wicked. When Yahushua returns, the election are gonna have victory. Gonna receive salvation, and be a part of the new world to come. All right, so, and this is what we're looking forward to, and this is what we're striving to in this truth. All right, to have victory, salvation, to take a part in that new world, in new heavens and new earth. All right, so I'll start off with this precept here. This is Revelation 15 and verse 1. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire. All right, the sea of glass is the firmament. Okay, the heavens, the literal skies. Okay, where Yahawashi is gonna come through with those chariots. All right. Okay, with that the white horse. Okay, the massive chariot. Okay, in the atmosphere. Okay, not literally being a sea. Okay, mingle with fire. Because that's the destruction of this earth. Mainly America. Okay, she's gonna be set on fire. All right, that with that lake of fire. All right, it says, and them that gotten the victory over the beast. Who's them? That's the election, the remnant, who stayed faithful to the Lord, endured, who kept the truth. Okay, you know okay, and continue. Okay, and who then, the ones who didn't denounce the name. Because when you take that mark, that okay, you're taking on what this man's name, his system, you're worshiping his idol. All right, and those are the ones who gonna be loyal, gonna stay loyal, to Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai. All right, and who gonna receive victory, all right, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, okay, Esau, and over his image, okay, his system, his beast system, okay, being that NWO, you should know this. All right, and over his mark, okay, that RFID micro C hip. All right, and over the number of his name, and standing, it's like a stand on the sea of glass. Okay, not literally, in those chariots. All right, okay, having the harps of power. All right, so these are the ones who are gonna receive victory. Okay, so on Lord's willing, we have to keep this mindset, keep this in our mind, and endure. Lord's willing, be a part of that remnant. Okay, the election. Because those who not faithful, and who do have that belief, which will be the ones the 2/3 wicked jakes, they're gonna be led to take in that MOTB, in that temptation, that hour of temptation. All right, so, and this is what we want. We want victory. We want the new world, not this world. They are in the mindset of Esau, Edom. All right, this is Revelation 14 and verse 9. Okay, doom for the worshippers of the beast. Okay, you know, if you accept this man in his image, you know, worship the beast by taking that sea hip, you know, you're gonna receive doom. All right, okay, destruction. You know, verse 9 says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, you know, taking out that sea hip, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, all right, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of power, which is poured out with slakia, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, his righteous judgment. But against Esau Edom, this is what Esau Edom gonna receive, and those who, you know, pledge to him, all right, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone, okay, the nuclear destruction of those missiles, in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb, being Yahawashi, you know, in those chariots watching down. The election will be with Yahawashi, you know, rejoicing, having victory. All right. And this is what it is here. We want to be on the Lord's side, you know, because it's a losing side, you know, it's a losing side and a winning side. All right. At the end of the day. Okay. You know, the new world to come, Yahawashi coming back to establish, you know, to set up his kingdom, and the old world gonna pass away. You know, this devil is running out of time. You know, so you know, this is what we want to stick to. Right? So, you know, you have to keep in that mindset and, you know, prep your mind and endure. You know, this is Philippians chapter 2 and verse 12. It says, wherefore, my beloved, as ye have always obeyed, not as in my presence only, but now much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Work out your own salvation. You know, to again a ticket to, you know, in those chariots in the chambers, you know, okay, with fear and trembling, you know. You have to have that fear of the Lord, which will keep you focused, you know, will keep you believing and in the truth, having that faith, all right, you know, it will keep you grounded in that mind state, okay, you know, being diligently doing your dedicated service, okay, being a servant to the Lord, okay, which will be your treasure. You know, the fear of the Lord is his treasure. Isaiah 33 verse 6. Okay, let that be a treasure, you know, because that gonna last forever. All right, okay, and this is what the Lord looking for, the worthy. Okay, you know, the unworthy gonna be led to destruction. All right, you know, so this is how you're gonna receive your salvation. You know, this is what we have to keep to. I have to keep on reminding ourselves. All right, that to keep on pushing and enduring, to take the Lord's willing to, to labor and take part in the new world. All right, okay, the righteous world, and the righteous government. Okay, because this world gonna pass away. Okay, the age of the Eon of Esau, the age of Esau, and if you hold on to him, you're gonna receive defeat. Okay, at the end of the day. All right. So this is Zach here. This is First John chapter 2 and verse 15. All right. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. Don't love this world. Okay. This world is ruled under who? Under Esau Edom. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Okay, and they're only gonna lead you to destruction. All right, to death. Okay, not to victory. All right. Okay. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Okay, will not be in you, and you won't have that fear of the Lord. All right, and stay loyal to the Lord. All right. Okay, verse 16 it says, For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes. Okay? Okay, don't always necessarily have to be the lust of the flesh too, literally, also is the achievements, the things, okay, the carnality, of this world. Okay, you know, don't put your focus or your store on that, 'cause, it's gonna lead you to destruction, to death. But to take in what I see here, because that's the great temptation was coming on the world. All right, and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. Verse 17, and the world passeth away. Okay, the age of Esau, the rulership. Okay, it passing away. All right, Esau's living on borrowed time, and if you take heed and you take part in with him, you're gonna pass away with it. All right, and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of power abideth forever. Okay, so keeping in this truth. All right, going through the afflictions, giving diligence, keeping the faith, all right, will you abide forever. All right, okay, you won't be taken up with this man, this devil. You won't be destroyed, when these troubles coming on the earth, okay, and that hour of temptation, you'll have stability, you'll keep strong. All right, okay, and you'll make it in the future kingdom. All right, so this is what we have to remind ourselves and continue in. All right, okay, in that straight gate, because that's the Lord choosing you, making it acceptable. Be acceptable to him. So that's why he putting you in this. All right, putting you in these afflictions. All right, verse slack here. This is First Peter chapter 4. First Peter chapter 4 verse 12. All right, beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. Don't think this afflictions, this position of difficulty is strange. It's to build you up, to keep you strong, to have the Lord in your mind, all right, and to endure to the end, to the Lord's willing, to have victory, to take part of the rewards, okay, what the Lord is bringing to his servants, to his men, right, to the elect, okay, but rejoice in as much as ye are partakers of a Mashiach's sufferings, okay, that when his glory shall be revealed, when the Son of Man come on the earth, okay, with those chariots, brightness of his coming, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. Okay, this is what we should be looking forward to. Okay, this is what I looking forward to. I want this place to go down. All right, and this is what we have to keep. We have to keep in the spirit. All right. Okay, so this is what the fiery trial is for. To keep you enduring. All right, to push in. So the Lord, to keep you in that labor, keep on laboring for the Lord. To be partakers of the glory of the victory. All right. Okay. This is what the Lord looking for. Faith. He's gonna look for faith on the earth. All right. This is Luke 8 and verse 18. I believe. Let me see here. Yeah, actually verse 15. 15. No, actually slack here. I looked up. Shall find faith on the earth. Yeah, Luke 18 verse 8. All right, this is Luke 18 verse 8. All right. Let me read from verse 6. And the Lord said, hear what the unjust judge saith, and shall not power avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear along with them, these afflictions, the fiery trial, you know, okay, and you enduring, you keep on patience, you keeping that patience, the Lord will avenge you, you know, you'll receive the rewards, the victory. All right, okay. So this is what we had to hold on to. Keep on holding on to the faith. This is 8 verse 8. It says, I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Okay, fast is why the Lord is shortening the days. All right, for his elect's sake. All right. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth? Okay, and only the election, the remnant, okay, out of the nation of Israel. Okay, the Lord not dealing with the whole nation is going to receive the truth, have the faith, the Lord going to set them in order and to receive that glory, all right, of Yahawashi's coming, that victory. Okay, all right. This is all right. So I'm just get some here in Apocrypha. This is Sirach chapter 2 and verse 5. All right, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the fullness of adversity. So once you go in through this, the Lord, you're a son of the Lord, this chastisement, okay, you're acceptable to the Lord, unto the Lord's will and make it, to have victory with him. All right. Verse 6, believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy, and go not aside lest ye fall. Okay, because if you go away from this, what is only destruction, damnation waiting for you. All right. Okay, so fear the Lord and keeping his spirit. All right. Okay, these average jakes, who ain't going through anything, which proves, they're not the sons of the Lord, it's bastards, to be cast with Esau. They will take that MOTB and be led to destruction. All right, along with Esau, along with his age, when expiring, Okay, so all right, this is what it is. This is Joel 2 and verse 32. So this is what the Lord is prepping his elect, for the glory, for the salvation, and to take part in the future kingdom, in the new heaven to come. All right, the new rulership to come. All right, this is Joel 2 verse 32. And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call on the name of Yahweh, okay, of Yahweh, Yahawashi, okay, who accept his name and his truth, all right, shall be delivered, shall get saved, shall receive victory in his coming. All right, for in Mount Zion, all right, and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, okay, of an election, okay, as the Lord hath said, and in the remnant whom the Lord shall call. This is the Lord calling out with his truth, right? I'm putting you through this, so that you could be worthy, so that you'll be accounted worthy to receive this victory and this glory was coming. All right, so Lord's will in this video was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakak Wadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, Wa Abad Babal, and Shalom.